majority of the people of this country, they were feeling uncomfortable. How the national freedom movement was energized. How was the common masses? They were energized. Yes, they were suffering, so they wanted independence. It's okay, but think of it. A common person at the time, look at our illiteracy, our level of literacy. Because British had completely destroyed our indigenous system of education. Mahatma Gandhi, in his roundtable conference when he had gone to London, he had given in his speech, where he said, Bharat was far more literate than what it was at that point of time, far more literate at the time that the British had occupied it. So we were largely illiterate. Our economy was in shambles, destroyed. We were in the grip of ignorance. Our selfhood, our pride in self was systematically destroyed by false and fabricated narratives the British had created about who we are. They had written, those of you who have studied political science, who have heard the name of a political scientist, John Stuart Mill. His father, James Mill, who was a pastor, he was entrusted with a task by the British to write a history of India. The man didn't visit India, but in 7 years he produced 5 volumes, History of India. And there he wrote all kinds of dirty things. In fact, one complete volume is dedicated to Hindus. They say Hindus are worthy to be enslaved. They are akin to eunuchs. These are the words which he used. And these books were made the textbook in the British schools and colleges in India. And all the British civil servants, those who qualified for ICS or not, they had to pass through a test, their introduction to India, through this James Mill history of India. So that was a design. So it was sense of selfhood was being destroyed very badly. At that point of time, a common man and women of this country woke up. How? It was not because there was a call for freedom. Freedom didn't make much sense to them because for them, their life beyond their village was not very intelligible. They were not able to make the sense out of it. The freedom, the people of this country woke up because the call was given around our Bharatiya Sanatans, icons and values. Mahatma Gandhi, when he started the daily prayer, Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, and concept of Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya. People of this country, though they were illiterate, they knew 2 things. One was a day-to-day suffering at the hand of the British. And the second, a Ram Raj would be one which they had heard through acculturation, through sanskar, that is the when you have everyone happy and prosperous. So, removal of this British rule would bring Ram Raj, this notion of Ram Raj, invocation of Sri Ram, that woke up this people of this country. Even here in this Tamil land, when Swadeshi movement had started, what was the call given by Bausi and others? They had called Swadeshi Ram Bana. People said, suppose if you make clothes, how is it going to drive away the British? It was beyond. Normal course, it was beyond the thinking of a common man. How could making clothes and spinning wheels is going to drive out the British or boycotting the goods? And so, our great leaders like Bausi, Swadeshi is Ram Ban. People understood what is Ram Ban, something that will destroy an evil forever. There is no escape from Ram Ban. So if you adopt Swadeshi, British had to leave. British rule would be finished. Now, common people could relate themselves with these icons, with these concepts, and that is how they galvanized. But then, compromises began. Compromises began. Policy of appeasement was adopted. Now imagine, caliphate in Turkey was abolished by, not by us. When caliphate in Turkey was abolished, more than 20,000 Hindus of Malabar were killed. More than 3 lakhs of them were displaced. But then, at the time, our leaders who were leading the movement, they did not utter a word. Because they thought, instead, they joined Khilafat movement. Yes, they started sympathizing with the people of a cause far away from the land. This is extraterritorial loyalties. In this pursuit of to appease the extraterritorial loyalty of a section of people, the killing of thousands of our people and displacement of lakhs of them it went unnoticed. It was played down. Vande Mataram, which used to be the song, the whole nation woke up to Vande Mataram. When Bankim Chandra wrote this Vande Mataram in the wake of the first Bengal famine, to energize the people woke up, Bharat Mata, Vande Mataram. It was considered, no, how can you have a Vande Mataram? They had to discontinue Vande Mataram. One by one, systematically, we started compromising with the core values of Bharat. And then a situation came when the country was partitioned. I often ask my historian friends a question which remains unaddressed today and which needs deeper study and research. In 1905, when a province of Bengal was partitioned on communal line, when the British had created Muslim Bengal, the whole country had revolted. There was a protest. Bhausi Chidambaram Pillai here, Bhausi, he took up. He was the one who joined the movement, who led the movement. Something happens in Bengal, the protest was here. All over the country, the people revolted. No. Normal course today, if you think of something happens in Bengal, why should people bother about it? I don't think we are much concerned about it. We are becoming so distant. But in 1905, when Bengal was partitioned on communal line by the British, people all over the country revolted. So much so. And the rebellion continued. 6 months later, British had to undo it. When Jallianwala Bagh happened in Punjab, the whole country revolted. Revolt was held. Tremor was felt here in this land. We know that leaders like Kamaraj and all were product of that. They had revolted and joined the freedom movement. But 40 years later, 42 years later, when the whole country was partitioned, the whole country watched it mutely, meekly. What happened? What was there in 1905 when there was no organized national freedom movement, and yet something happening in one part of the country, the revolt was felt, the impact was felt in the whole nation. And 4 decades later, the whole country is partitioned. At that point of time, it was only a partition of a province on communal line. Now, where the whole country, the country was, something went, something went amiss. And this, what was happening, disturbed the police chief. He realized that, look, we are moving towards independence, we are fighting for independence, but in the process, we are losing Bharat. Do we lose Bharat? What kind of bargain we are going to have? He suffered. He did whatever he could. Some of these descriptions have been made by Professor Kanak Savapati that how partition of when the country was being partitioned, Bengal, the whole Bengal was to be given to Pakistan. It was he who led the movement. No, it is not possible to take away the whole Bengal from Bharat. So at least a part of Bengal was retained with Bharat. Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is a case that if you closely, minutely study, it tells you how we had deviated, how far, how distant we had gone from the whole idea of Bharat. British had done what they wanted to do in their interest. But then it was a princely estate which had become independent on the midnight of 14th and 15th of August 1947. Subsequently, Maharaja Hari Singh signed an instrument of annexation. It became part of Bharat. Very clear. If it had become, and it had, why if? Once it had become part of Bharat, what was there to negotiate with anyone? Why did Pakistan send the troops? And Pakistan was allowed to send the troops. And even, look at this, they sent the troops. Only thing they did, they changed their uniform. Instead of wearing the military uniform, they put on this civil dress, and they call them, they are all tribal Razakars. No, they were Pakistani military, Pakistani soldiers. When they moved, why they were not chased back? Why did we wait? But then if you look at who was the head of this state at that point of time, head of Bharat. Look at, this is a country, it must be unique in the world. When a country which has become independent, the head of the country remains the same Britisher. He is not only the head of the country as the Governor General, he also was the Commander-in-Chief of Indian military. He didn't allow the military to move. What kind of game it was being played? And eventually when, with all the reluctance, when Mountbatten signed the instrument of annexation signed by Maharaja Hari Singh, because when he signed the instrument of annexation, Mountbatten was reluctant to sign it. Because British design was to give Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan. That was their design. But eventually, he had to sign it because there were Sardar Patel, people like him, who didn't let Mountbatten have his way. But after signing the instrument of annexation, when the troops were sent, why the troops were stopped halfway? Allow the troops to, our Indian troops to move and clear the whole Jammu and Kashmir of the presence of Pakistanis. They were stopped because the British advised our Prime Minister, you go to the United Nations. And we know that our first Prime Minister was such a great Anglophile, he had such a great love for the British, that whatever they advised, whatever Mountbatten and others they advised, he went by that. And he continued paying the price of it till today. Till today, a major part of Jammu and Kashmir is with Pakistan. till Prime Minister Modi came in 2014, there were numerous attempts to settle with Pakistan to take away POK. Pakistan occupied, let it be yours. Let the line of control be the border, international border. And here I must say that we owe it to the Pakistanis that they refused. They said, no, we'll take the whole Pakistan, the whole of J&K. Otherwise, treaty as some kind of agreement saying that, okay, let LOC be the border, international border. Nobody had talked about, nobody, in fact, conscious effort was made to erase from the memory, from the public discourse, any discussion about Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Even from our Indian military maps, that area was not discussed until 2014. Slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, it was forgotten. It was only after Prime Minister Modi came that this unfinished agenda, we are completing it, finishing it now. The one that 370. Abolition of 370 is a correction of a historic blunder. Look at this. Imagine, many of our people, we are not taught in our textbooks. It was not put in the textbook. Our people are not aware of it. That when Pakistan occupied a part of Jammu and Kashmir, a large number of Hindus from that area came over to Jammu and Kashmir. Thousands of them they came. And what was their plight until 2019? They came over, they were Indian citizens, but they were not citizens of Jammu and Kashmir. They could vote in parliament election, but they could not vote in a state election. Their children could not get, they or their children could not get any job in Jammu and Kashmir. They could not buy land in Jammu and Kashmir. They were treated as foreigners. This was the impact or result of Article 370. One wonders, in our country, what all systems that we have created. If the country was partitioned on communal line, if Muslim League refused to accept Mahatma Gandhi's slogan, Mahatma Gandhi used to say, Allah Ishwar Tere Naam, all are the same. Jinnah said, no, Allah is not Ishwar. We don't agree with that. When they kept this introduced, in fact, it is the league. It was in that period of time that communal politics began in this country. Today, all those who talk about communalism, they must realize that their forefathers were responsible for it. At that very point of time, when the Muslim League had started talking about communalism, about separate Muslim electorate, separate Muslim country, homeland, they could have firmly said, no, it is not possible. It is they who planted the seed, who allowed this. It is the league which planted, and they who nursed it by putting water and manuring it. And it has grown up to an extent that it has become a major problem today. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, he understood what Bharat is, Bharat was, what was the core strength of Bharat, how Bharat came into being. Bharat, we all know that Bharat is not like any other country in the world. Bharat was not built by any ruler, by any king, or by any emperor, by military, by force. Bharat is a product of Sanatan Darshan, Sanatan Adhyatma, Sanatan Dharma. Some people here saying as if it was born 1947. Political state of India, of course, came into being in 1947. But Bharat came several thousands years ago, since the time of the Rig Veda. when they talked about Rashtra, Bharat as a Rashtra, and how Rashtra came into being, that also it describes how our great rishis, when they discovered the truth, when it was revealed, the entire universe is a creation, and we are all family members of the same creation, we are all integrally connected. And when this Drishtikon, when this vision, it spread, and a lifestyle revolved around that. We started worshipping trees, we started worshipping rivers, mountains, animals, because there's a divinity in all. This inclusive, all inclusive. This is only Sanatana Dharma, no other than in the religion in the world. First of all, there are multiple religions in the world, but there is only one Dharma. Because all other religions believes in exclusivity. Either you are in, you are inside, if you follow this, otherwise you are out. Here, even if you don't believe, you are also us. This is the beauty of it, all inclusive. You may have your ways of worship, or you may not be worshipping at all. That's your thought. Yet, we are all part of the thing. You may express yourself in your own way. There can be infinite way of expressing the truth. Fine. It's okay. Doesn't matter, we are all members of a family. Now this core strength that made Bharat, this core strength was targeted. At the time of independence, Sri Aurobindo had mentioned, he had written his dreams. He defined Bharat. What is Bharat? He says Bharat.
It's time to refresh your vibe with Yash Raj. Win a chance to feature in a music video with Yash Raj Mookerjee, plus more refreshing prizes to win daily and weekly. Visit the website or scan the QR code to participate now.
Fidelity, it's commitment to Sanatana Dharma. If you remain committed to Sanatana Dharma, to its principle, Bharat energy is close. And today, you look at the energy, Ramlala Mandir is built. Look at how country. Kasi corridor all around. We had just a few months back, Mahakumbh. Imagine, 66 crore plus people. Other than China, no country in the world can claim to have that much, even half the population. They came from all parts of Bharat, and Sanatanis from all over the world they came. They came, nobody had any invite. They came because they thought it was, or this event was theirs. This place was theirs, and it was their sacred obligation to go and have a day in this confluence of the three rivers, holy rivers. Now this energizes the mass. This is the living energy. And Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee was conscious of this. And that is why he has been leading the movement at the time. On the one hand, when there were attempts to weaken the soul of Bharat through consistent compromises, steady compromises, leader like Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee continued the campaign to save the soul of Bharat. Eventually, for that very Jammu and Kashmir, when we call it a special status, no, it is not just a special status. It is an euphemism. It is a separate country. As if it is a kind of a coalition through an agreement, you are together. It is like a treaty. 370 had become a treaty. Laws of parliament will not be applicable. Decisions of Supreme Court will not be applicable. Anybody going from Bharat will not. And at that point of time needed permit. Imagine. How do you call it was a part of this country? No. For all practical purposes, it was not a special status, Let us, all of us, those who use the word special status, let us be careful about the words. This special status word expression has been created to just remove the sting, to make it look sound soft. When a country had a, when you call, your so-called state has its own prime minister, its own constitution, its own flag, and laws of Bharat will not be applicable there. Then how do you call it a part of your country? No? Eventually, and against that, Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee fought and he became a martyr. His martyrdom inspired people of this country. And eventually, in 2019, his dream was fulfilled. A permanent solution to the problem of Jammu and Kashmir. Now that, as far as the constitutional solution of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, it is done. The leftover responsibility is, or the task is, to take back the OJ, Pakistan. And it will happen, we have no doubt about it. The world has witnessed recently might of India in terms of political will, in terms of military capability, in terms of national resources. In every way, the country has demonstrated. Imagine Pakistan, which used to all the time blackmail nuclear power. How can you fight a nuclear power? Every time. In fact, I have been a witness to this kind of conversation because being in the security environment all through. When you talk about Pakistan, people used to be different. I don't know what to do. Now they have got nuclear weapons. They also have got tactical nuclear weapons, not necessarily a big one, a small one. They can destroy large thousands of our troops. And incident after incident, attacks after attacks, Pakistan continued doing. Attack on our parliament. Look at Mumbai, 26/11. Handful of Pakistani terrorists. And when they call it Pakistan, sometimes even our people, sometimes they say it is Pak is sponsored. And I take a serious exception to that. I said, please be careful. They are not Pak sponsored. They are a part of Pakistan military. They wear different uniform. They wear different dress. Their protocol is different. But it's an integral part of Pakistani establishment. So don't, when you say sponsor, means you are not doing, you are asking someone else to do it. No, it's a part of Pakistani establishment. When Pakistan
Amma, first salary வாங்கிட்டேன்.
attacked Mumbai, the whole country looked at it with anger, frustration, and humiliation. Almost for 60 hours. And then, within less than a year, the Prime Minister of this country, Bharat, meets the Prime Minister of Pakistan and signs a joint MOU. Both countries are victims of terrorism. Imagine, where will be? Now, when Pulwama they did, a strike happened, air strike. Balakot was destroyed. When Pahalgam they did, far more impactful, decisive, Operation Sindhu. Pakistan was crippled, or just crippled. And then they came for ceasefire, let us say. And of course, we are not interested in war. We want you to behave. If you do not, you will be punished. And punished in a very decisive manner. It's not just by some kind of a protest, like a wailing of a widow. You will be punished decisively, which will hurt you. And this is what Operation did. In 4 days, nowhere in the world, war between two countries have started and concluded in a short time of 4 years with our entire objective achieved. Our political objective achieved, yes, we'll come inside you and destroy. It was capability of testing the military power of the two countries. Also. We saw what happened. They kept sending their drones. Now, this is new Bharat. This is what Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee had dreamt of. Fortunately, today, we have a national leader who has taken this country from the depth of depression, depth of pessimism and despair to now a level where we are aspirational. We are recognized in the world. It was 1947. Bharat was the sixth largest economy in the world. When the British had occupied Bharat, Bharat was the number one, the largest economy. With all the exploitations by the colonial powers, Bharat remained the sixth largest. But what happened thereafter? Our people kept shouting slogans about Garibi Hatao, Garibi Hatao. And by 2014, we became the 11th. We became poorer and poorer and poorer. So some people who have been playing politics, some people say we will give you social justice, but maximum discrimination happens in this particular place. You keep giving slogan, either Garibi Hatao, remove poverty, or bring social justice, but you keep accentuating poverty, you keep increasing social divide, and you keep ruling. But in the process, the country suffers. Now, in just about a decade, in 11 years, from 11th, we are the fourth largest economy in the world. If you read the literature up to 2014 on the growth, development of this country, very often you would have come across an expression, India will grow only at the rate of Hindu rate of growth. Because being called Hindu, what the British, James Mill had said that Hindus are a subordinate race. So everything about Hindu was nothing very great. So the rate of growth also would be very, very minimal. Now today, Bharat is the fastest growing large economy in the world, and for the last 5 years, it is not that 1 year. Consistently, we have been the fastest growing economy in the world. Till 2014-15, 28% of this country population, Bharat's population, was in absolute poverty. Today, the World Bank has acknowledged it, that this from 28% it has dropped to 3%. 3%. More than 300 million people of this poor people of this country have been pulled out of absolute poverty. This is nothing short of a miracle. And this miracle has happened under the leadership of a leader who understands Bharat, who understands the soul of Bharat, who understands the aspirations of Bharat, who lives for Bharat, whose every minute of 24/7 is dedicated for Bharat and Bharat alone. This is fulfillment to the dream of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is exactly doing that. The kind of Bharat that Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee has dreamed of. The kind of Bharat that great Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji had thought of, imagined. Bharat, whose sole darshan is Sanatan Darshan, which is Ekatma Manav Darshan, integral humanism. We are all a family. And in that family, when you have a family concept, you do not distinguish, you do not discriminate. There is no majority, there is no minority. All are members of the family. And that is why, if you look at Prime Minister Modi's initiative, when he says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, it is not a slogan, it's not a political slogan. It is a working philosophy. It is a governance philosophy of his government. And that is why you see, whether it's the domain of health, Ayushman, everyone, every poor person has got Ayushman Bharat. 5 lakhs insurance, you don't have to worry about it. If you fall sick, you go to the hospital, you are treated. Making medicines cheaper through Janaushadhi Kendra. 2014, we had less than 400 Janaushadhi Kendra, generic medicines. Today, we have more than 17,000 generic. Our doctors are now mandated to prescribe the generic medicine. And every medicine shop has generic as well as branded. It is up to you. If you have a deep pocket, you want to spend more money, you spend it. But the medicine that costs 100 rupees branded, generic you will get in 10 rupees. Choice is yours. Now, poor people, they know. They make intelligent choices. So this is the game. It adds to the well-being of our people. Imagine 800 million people, 80 crore people who have been getting free ration. This free ration is not a freebie. Somebody will tag this as a freebie. It's not a freebie. Because it has been accepted by great economists that when a poor person rises, his level, economic level rises, the poor person is exposed to shocks. Suppose somebody in the family falls sick, some accident happens, the whole family, entire economy family collapses. Give support. They need hand holding for some time before they rise further and their rise is consolidated. So the hand holding. Thanks to our farmers, again, farmers as a community are very dear to our Prime Minister, that they have produced so much of food that we are able to distribute food. 80 crore people getting free food for the last 5 years. Not only that, we have been supplying food even to the needy people, hungry people across the world. This is new Bharat. So all these fields, health, education, connectivity, we all see how it is. You see the difference. It is magical transformation. This is emergence of new Bharat. When Prime Minister of Bharat goes outside, look at the kind of reception he gets. When an Indian, ordinary Bharatiya goes outside, at every place of immigration, by weight of the Bharatiya passport. It is not only Prime Minister, every Bharatiya. We know, we have been traveling, even as senior officials when we have been traveling, how in many countries Indian passport was looked at. Today, look at this, the face of the immigration officer, the way they treat you is entirely different, with a lot of respect. This is new Bharat. We know it. The world knows it. That new rising Bharat is an answer to most of the global problems. Global problems, whether it's the climate, whether it's a conflict, war. You look at the war. Even latest is Israel, Iran. We told to stop the war, we have to evacuate our people. Both parties respected. Bharat said, this suggestion, and we safely evacuated thousands and thousands of our countrymen and women. Began in Ukraine. Again, Ukraine and Russia both, when we told them to stop the war, give us the window, We will remove our people. We will evacuate our people. We evacuated every Bharatiya from. This is new Bharat. When you say the world listens with respect. So when we are talking about Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, it is essentially an occasion to understand what is Bharat, what is this Rashtra for which Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, for which he lived, he struggled, and he gave his life. Because it needs to be internalized, it needs to be studied, it needs to be understood. Because our history, post-independence history of Bharat, has been badly distorted. We went on a wrong direction. And in the process, we started forgetting who we are, and we had almost forgotten. It is important that we must know what is Bharat. What is the core strength of Bharat, and how Bharat can fulfill its obligation. It's not just a choice, it is an obligation. Bharat has to rise for the good of the entire humanity. Bharat is not for Bharat alone. When we say Bharat as a Vishwa Guru, is not just in a literal sense. When we said Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Yadu Mure Yavarum Kelir, it is this is what Bharat is. We have to live, we have to save. We have an obligation to save the humanity from the crisis. All the conflicts that we see around, conflict between man and man, conflict between nations and nations, state and state, conflict between humans and environment. All these are creating disasters. We are looming, the world is looming to at rather a great doom is looming at this country, at the world. We have to save the world. So with this obligation, we are moving and we are building up. And our leader, the national leader, has given a call that by 1947, we must be fully capable. We must be fully developed. We must be fully self-reliant so that you are able to do it. Economic strength, you have a military strength. Because our ancient scriptures tell us, Balino vasaga sarve durbalasya chashatruva. If you are strong, you have friends around. Everybody is your friend. If you are weak, you are surrounded by enemies. We don't treat anyone enemy, but enemies, if they emerge, we must know to make them quiet, show them their place. We don't necessarily have to launch another Operation Sindhu, though it is ongoing. But the lesson is loud and clear that Bharat is rising and rising to a greater height of strength and prosperity. And this is a way of paying tribute to Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. He is fulfilling his dream. You are all here. We feel so happy about our participation of the event. But we have to carry the message forward. This is here in our state, somehow, unfortunately, these names are not very commonly heard. There has been a conscious effort to suppress these. This is not good. This great land, this Tamil land, I always mention it, we all know that this is the spiritual capital of Bharat. This is the Punya Bhumi. Tamil Bhumi is the Punya Bhumi. It has given us so much light through ancient times, thousands and thousands of years ago. Now this land has given us all the wisdom. This land has given us all the inspiration. This land has given us all the valor and strength, and that they have given us the stories of bravery, untold braveries. Now this land has to also, people of this land, of this generation, they have to know about are those who fought for the ideals for which our sages and saints and warriors of this land. Imagine when Marvi brothers in 1801 talked about Jambu Dvip Pragatana. He didn't say about what is, you know, Sivgangai and all that area. He talked about Jambu Dweep. So this land which has given for the whole land of Bharat, these people of this land should also know about the people elsewhere in this country, those who have given their life for it. Let us carry the message of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee to our younger generations, to our institutions, be it academic institutions, be it industries, be it social institutions, any. Because Syama Prasad Mookerjee cannot be confined to one particular domain. I would urge those of us who are with the private schools, take these lessons. Let the teachers tell our students about the life and legacy of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. People in the industries, you have your workers. Let the story of Bharat, let the story of Syama Prasad Mookerjee be talked about. We must learn because that keeps us. Our present generation is on the shoulder of our past. Those who have given their life. We are here today enjoying it because people like Syama Prasad Mookerjee have given their life. We must.
नेक्सस सेलेक्ट मॉल्स का एंड ऑफ सीजन सेल एक्चुअली एंड नहीं है, एक धमाकेदार स्टार्ट है। तो मेरे यार हो जाओ अपने फेवरेट ब्रांड्स पे अप टू 60% ऑफ पाने के लिए तैयार, क्योंकि असली हैप्पीनेस सिर्फ यहाँ है।
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we now request Thiru S. Jagannathan, founder of the Veranda Club and convener, Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, Coimbatore, to propose the words of thanks.
Honorable Governor, respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, eminent scholars, and friends, it's both an honor and privilege to stand before you today to extend the heartfelt words of thanks at this momentous occasion, the commemoration of the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, a towering patriot, visionary statesman, and a fearless advocate for national integration. First and foremost, I express our deepest gratitude to the Honorable Governor for graciously hosting this commemorative event at the esteemed Raj Bhavan. Your presence and patronage have lent this program its dignity and stature, and we are truly thankful, sir. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for highlighting the ancient Bharatiya values as well as the one that is a resurgent new Atmanirbhar Bharat. To extend our sincere appreciation to all the distinguished speakers, Dr. H.V. Handeji, to have honored us with his presence and his gracious talk. Professor Kanaka Sabapati ji, for inspiring us on the life of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Your words have rekindled the spirit of his ideals and reminded us of the profound relevance of his vision even today. Our thanks to the organizing committee, Thiru Nambi Narayananji and Thiru P.T. Rajanji and team, whose tireless efforts behind the scenes ensured that every detail was well attended to with precision and care. Your dedication made this solemn event a meaningful tribute. To the cultural performers, members of the press, and the support staff at Raj Bhavan, thank you for your commitment and contribution in bringing grace, discipline, and seamless coordination to this day. A special word of appreciation to the students and young participants who joined us. Your presence is a reminder that Dr. Mookerjee's ideas continue to inspire new generations. May his dedication in education, national unity, and fearless service guide your own journeys. Finally, to all our attendees and well-wishers, some of you have traveled from across Tamilagam for this event. Thank you for being part of this celebration. Your participation reflects a collective respect for the memory of a man whose life was dedicated to the service of Bharat Mata. As we draw this program to a close, let us carry forward the spirit of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, a spirit of courage, clarity, and unyielding commitment to our nation's unity, integrity, and democratic values. Nandri, Vanakkam, Jai Hind.
Ladies and gentlemen, we humbly request all of you to rise up for the national anthem.
मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Dear dignitaries, we humbly request all of you to join us for the high tea, elaborate